Humans are the only surviving members of the genus Homo, but we weren't always this way. For hundreds of thousands of years, various species of Homo competed for resources and dominance across the globe. So why did we win? Hi, it's me, and this is my channel. One of our Homo cousins, Homo erectus, was actually the first of our species to spread out of Africa and into Europe and Asia. They were also the longest surviving member of the genus Homo, living on Earth for over 1 million years. Despite this, they lost. So, what made Homo sapiens so super that all other human species went extinct? Well, there are a lot of possible reasons, but one of the biggest may be that we're good at adapting to new environments. Homo sapiens evolved in Africa around 300,000 years ago. But unlike our ancestors who stayed mostly in one area of Eastern Africa, we were more nomadic. And starting around 70,000 years ago, we started spreading out of Africa into Europe, the Middle East, and eventually all over the world. This is actually pretty remarkable when you think about it, because we had to invent new tools for different environments, find new food sources, and learn to adapt to wildly different climates. But we did it. And this trait might have been a key factor in our survival. See, humans aren't particularly strong or fast, nor do we have particularly good senses or reflexes. But we are good at adapting and innovating, which allowed us to survive in many different environments. Another thing that helped us out was our big brains. Homo sapiens have some of the largest brains of any species on Earth. Our brain size peaked around 20,000 years ago at a whopping 90 cubic inches. That's 3 times larger than a chimpanzee brain and 4 times larger than an orangutan brain. Although recent studies suggest that brain size may have actually decreased since then, big brains are still better than small brains. See, larger brains mean more neurons, which means more connections between neurons. More connections between neurons means that animals can learn more complex behaviors, store more information, and have more sophisticated social interactions. With our bigger brains, we were able to develop more complex language skills, create more advanced tools, and take on more dangerous prey. We could also pass on more information from one generation to the next through stories and examples rather than just trial and error. Big brains also probably helped us cooperate in larger groups because having more neurons means more connections to other people. In fact, some scientists say that our brain size may have increased because of the demands of living in groups with lots of other humans. Although it turns out that bigger brains may have actually come at a cost, having a big brain means that you need lots of calories to power it. Scientists estimate that a fully functioning human brain needs around 20% of our total calorie intake. So humans probably needed to eat more than other primates to keep their brains running. Luckily for us, we also have the ability to cook our food. Cooking not only makes food more palatable, but it also makes nutrients more bioavailable. That is, it makes them easier for our bodies to absorb. Being able to cook our food gave early humans a major advantage when it came to getting enough calories to fuel our large brains. Plus, cooking probably helped us digest plant matter thanks to a process called Maillard browning. This is the same chemical reaction that gives cooked meat its delicious flavor. But it also breaks down certain compounds that make raw plants hard to digest. So our guts could have started shrinking as our brains were getting bigger. This would have freed up even more energy for our brains, kicking off an evolutionary cycle where our brains got bigger and our guts got smaller. Kind of like an arms race, except instead of weapons, it's neurons, and instead of countries, it's our organs. But maybe the most important thing that set us apart from other human species was our ability to create and use complex language. Language allows us to communicate abstract ideas, coordinate group activities, and pass down knowledge from one generation to the next. Some scientists even claim that language is what allowed our brains to get so big in the first place. As you probably already know, not all human species had the same level of cognitive ability. Homo habilis, for instance, had an average brain size comparable to modern chimps, and they didn't have the ability to speak, even if they wanted to. Because the parts of our brain that are involved in language, like Broca's area, are unusually large compared to other primates. Scientists think that our unique language abilities set off a cascade of changes in our brain. Having the ability to speak allowed our brains to start growing without the constraints of natural selection. After all, if a mutation made someone's brain a little bigger, it wouldn't be a problem if they couldn't pass on their genes because they died in childbirth. But if they could pass on their genes despite having a bigger brain, then the mutation would become more common in the population over time. And it seems like the ability to speak gave us just that freedom. So, those are a few of the things that made Homo sapiens the ultimate human. Although it's worth pointing out that none of these traits are unique to our species. Homo erectus had big brains and advanced language abilities. And Homo neanderthalensis was capable of abstract thought, and maybe even art. It is likely that all of the human species that came before us, or alongside us, were highly intelligent, capable creatures. But without the ability to pass on their genetic information, their innovations died with them. So what should I talk about next? Please let me know in the comments below. And be sure to subscribe so you never miss an episode. Thanks for watching. See you next time.